I wanted to start a new weekly upload to offer you guys more valuable insights and opportunities. So in this video, I'm going to show you all the promising underdogs and favorites that I noticed for UFC Fight Night Blanchfield versus Fiorot. Now, along with that, I'll also provide you my final probability for those fighters' victories, as well as their stat differentials with their opponents. Please do me a favor and like and subscribe if you find this informative, helpful, or even entertaining. Running this data takes hours every day and week, so I'd really appreciate any support you can give. And thank you to everyone who has shown me support recently. Also, if you like detailed breakdowns and predictions, I do those videos weekly as well for full cards, including prelims. Feel free to check them out on my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in, and let's just jump right in. Alright, so the fighters' names are on the leftmost column, followed by their probability of victories that I presented to you guys in my prediction video earlier this week. To get these probabilities, I not only use 7 data science prediction models that have been trained for accuracy, but other qualitative information as well about each fighter, such as their momentum, their recent performances, their career trajectory, psychological factors, their training camps, and their weight cuts, just to name a few. Then, on the remaining columns, I also provided the stat advantages for the fighters compared to their opponents, so this is what's known as their stat differentials. And just to make sure that certain stats aren't misleading, I've excluded stat differentials where one of the fighters has 0 for their stats. Otherwise, it would be a little bit misleading. Maybe that other fighter hasn't had a chance to record that stat yet, like submission averages, etc. So let me do a quick rundown as to why these fighters are the most likely underdogs that have a chance to win, which makes them potential value bets. So first we have Manon Fiorot. Fiorot could use her remarkable striking defense, which stands out at 69%, to keep Blanchfield's significant strikes at bay. Her ability to control the distance with a 6.05 strikes landed per minute compared to Blanchfield's 5.58, and her formidable takedown defense of 91% could be crucial. Now granted, she'll need to maintain her distance and utilize her striking to dictate the pace of the fight. She's also 3 inches taller, 10 years younger, and has better takedown accuracy as well. Her final probability that I mentioned in my prediction video was 47.3%, which makes her a potentially valuable underdog in this fight. Now the next fighter that I think is an underdog that has a good chance of winning is Joaquin Buckley. Buckley has the edge in reach, which he can use to close the distance against Luque, who prefers to fight at range. Buckley's path to victory may rely on leveraging his explosive power to overcome Luque's high-volume striking, and he can catch him with a significant strike. Not to mention, he also has a 5% better striking defense, he lands 0.47 more takedowns on average, and has a 3% better takedown defense. I gave him a final probability of 48.4%, which makes him another potentially valuable underdog in this fight. Now the next underdog that I think has some value is Connor Matthews. Connor Matthews has a strong takedown game and a higher strike output, and he can use these advantages against Denis Buzukja. His striking should involve mixing takedowns with aggressive striking to keep Buzukja off balance and control where the fight takes place. A lot of his stats are actually more advantageous than Buzukja's, as you can see in this image. I think he's a tad bit riskier because I gave him a final probability of 45%, but it's still pretty high, honestly, for an underdog, so I thought it was worth mentioning him. The next fighter would be Anton Turkalj. So he's facing Ibo Aslan in a rematch, and Turkalj has a slight statistical disadvantage in striking, but he can compensate that with his grappling skill. Now, given Aslan's striking volume, Turkalj's path to victory will likely involve utilizing his takedown ability to bring the fight to the ground, where he can then control the fight and potentially look for a submission as he did in their first fight. I gave him a 48.7% probability of victory, which is pretty darn close to that 50% mark. And then the last underdog that I think has a good chance of winning is Victoria Dudakova. Dudakova's statistical edge in takedown accuracy and average against Melissa Gatto indicates a tactical advantage on the ground. She could employ her grappling skills to neutralize Gatto's reach advantage and striking volume, aiming to control the fight on the mat, where she has been effective in securing victories. She also has a 4% better striking accuracy. Although she's the underdog, she's actually one of my picks, which is why I gave her a 50.4% probability of victory. I know that's not very confident, but it's still an underdog that I am picking. Now, with her stats and experience and high probability of victory as an underdog, I think she's worth considering in my list as well. Now I want to move on to the favorites of this card that show the most potential. So in looking at these fighters, I narrowed it down with 3 main criteria. First, they have a high statistical weighted confidence, either through my prediction models or through fighter stat evaluation, or some combination of the two. Secondly, their opponent doesn't have a high probability of victory, so you won't notice any kind of overlap between the underdogs I just showed you earlier and these fighters. And the third thing is that their odds aren't too expensive. I'm not going to give you fighters that are negative 400 or negative 700 odds. Obviously, they're too expensive to pick. You could parlay them and add them to your parlays, but I'm focusing more on finding you guys value than just stating obvious winners and pointing out the negative 500 type fighters. So I consider these three things, I do all of the work for you, and then I show you the valuable picks that fit that criteria. Now, although I'm not going to dive into prop bets, what you can do is use my prediction video that I uploaded earlier, where I break down the full stats and the prediction model results and pair it with this list to see what the most logical prop bets are if you are interested in prop bets. So in those prediction videos, I also review the likely method of victories, so that could be of use to you as well. I've included the stat differentials for these favorites as well, so you can go ahead and see where they have advantages and how large these advantages are. Now for the favorites, I won't really dive into why each of these fighters are the more confident picks, but if you want that in-depth type of information or breakdown, again, you can check out that prediction video where I go over why these guys are likely to win and things of that nature. And you can use these to start helping you narrow down your bets and make your parlays. So I know this video is short, but that's exactly how I want to keep this video. I want to keep it short, meaningful, purposeful, and valuable to you guys so you guys can go ahead and make your bets, make your picks, and find some value in the market, right? So this pretty much wraps up my underdogs and favorites that show the most promise video. I really appreciate you all watching and being so supportive of the channel. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you like this video or the videos I do. It'll help keep me encouraged and motivated to continue providing you guys insights and improving every single week. Thank you guys so much, and see you guys in the next one.